By the time I realized Evelyn had stopped answering my calls, I told myself it was just stress. Finals, deadlines, the usual excuses kids used when they were overwhelmed and didn't want to admit it. I'd heard all of them before, just not from my own daughter. I'm buried in finals. Mock trials are killing me. I'll come home once bar prep starts. What's the point before that? She always sounded tired, busy, mildly annoyed, like I was interrupting something important. I tried to take comfort in that. Important meant she was still on track. She was supposed to become a lawyer in 6 months. Instead, she was 3 states away, and I didn't know that yet. I still thought her apartment was full of books, that her days were measured in case briefs and caffeine, that the money we sent her was going toward something solid. The truth was simpler and uglier, but I wasn't there yet. Diane always said I worried too much, that Evelyn would find her footing, that pressure only made things worse. I believed in pressure, not the cruel kind, but the kind that made you stand up straight and deal with what you'd broken. Diane believed love meant stepping in before the fall. Between us, our daughter learned something I wish she hadn't. If she stayed quiet, things kept working. I didn't find out because Evelyn confessed. I didn't even find out because I went looking. I found out because Diane tried to take out too much cash and thought I wouldn't notice. It was a Friday afternoon when the bank's fraud alert hit my phone. Not dramatic, just a quiet notification about an unusually large withdrawal attempt from one of our shared accounts. At first, I assumed it was a mistake, or a contractor, or something boring. When I checked, the amount was still pending. When I called the bank, they asked if I'd authorized it. I hadn't. I waited until Diane came home. She didn't look nervous. That was the strange part. She looked practiced. "Oh," she said when I asked. "I needed cash. Evelyn's having some issues with her account. I was just helping her out." Something in her tone didn't sit right. Too quick, too smooth. "How much?" I asked. She named the number like she'd rehearsed it. I didn't argue. Not yet. I just said, "Next time, tell me first." She nodded, smiled, acted relieved. That night, after she went to bed, I checked the account history. Smaller transfers, spread out, careful, not new. Just better hidden than I'd bothered to look for before. And that's when something else clicked into place. I checked the tuition payments. There hadn't been one in months. The school portal confirmed it. Inactive. The next morning, I called. "Mr. Harper," the woman said after a pause, "your daughter withdrew last semester." Withdrew. Not struggling, not delayed. Gone. When I told Diane that night, I kept my voice steady. "She dropped out," I said. "6 months ago." She froze. "No," she said too fast. That can't be right. She hasn't been enrolled since October." She looked at me like she'd been waiting for this moment and still wasn't ready for it. "She didn't want to disappoint you," Diane said. "So instead," I said, "she lied, and you helped pay for it." "She's still our daughter," Diane said, already crying. "And we've protected her into this," I said, before I could stop myself. "She's spending our money pretending she's building a future she already walked away from. She's young, she needs support." "No," I said, "she needs consequences." That night, I shut everything down. Cards, transfers. The quiet safety net we'd built, without even calling it that. Then I said something I'd never planned to say. "If you give her money behind my back," I told Diane, "we're done. I will divorce you." She looked at me like she didn't recognize me. "You'd leave me over this?" "I'd leave because lying spreads," I said. "And I'm not paying for it anymore." Evelyn felt it immediately, apparently. The next day, Diane told me her card had declined. Rent bounced. Panic. I didn't feel good about that, but I didn't feel wrong either. I didn't confront either of them right away. That might have been cowardice. Or maybe I just needed to be sure I wasn't imagining patterns where I wanted to see them. Either way, I started paying attention in a way I hadn't before. Diane began guarding her phone like it was something fragile. She took calls in the hallway. She angled the screen away from me at night. When I asked her once who had called, she said, "Work," too quickly, and then added, "You know how it is." Like that settled it. It didn't. Money started feeling slippery, not gone, just moving in ways I didn't recognize. So I hired a private investigator. 3 weeks later, a plain envelope showed up on my desk. No logo, no drama, just weight. Inside, photographs of Diane walking into a hotel with a man I recognized. Bank statements with neat little circles around transfers I hadn't approved. Copies of messages that were careful, coded, and still unmistakable. I sat there longer than I should have. When I finally went home, Diane was in the kitchen making pasta like it was any other night. "We need to talk," I said. She looked at my face and went still. "About what?" I didn't answer. I just took out my phone and canceled every shared card and account access I could in about 3 minutes. Her phone buzzed once, then again. She picked it up. Her face drained. "Richard," she said, "what did you just do?" "I stopped paying for lies," I said. Her voice went thin. "My cards just got declined." "I know," she stared at me. Did you lock me out?" "Yes." "Why?" she asked, like she truly didn't understand. I put the envelope on the counter between us. "Because I know." She didn't open it. She didn't need to. Her shoulders sank like something finally gave out. "Read it," I said. She did. She sat down hard at the table. "Oh my God," she whispered. "You hired someone?" "I had to," I said. "You weren't going to tell me." She shook her head. "It's not what you think." "It's exactly what I think," I said. "How long?" She didn't answer. "How long, Diane?" "2 years," she said, barely audible. "And Evelyn?" I asked. "The money." She closed her eyes. She was panicking. She needed help. "And you needed her quiet," I said. She looked up at me sharply. "I was trying to hold this family together." "No," I said. "You were trying to hold your secret together." Her phone rang. Evelyn's name lit up the screen. Diane hesitated, then answered. "Mom?" Evelyn's voice came through, tinny and nervous. "My rent bounced. My card's not working. What's going on?" Diane looked at me like she was asking permission. "Put it on speaker," I said. She did. "Evelyn," I said, "we need to talk." There was a pause. "Dad?" "Yes," I said. "Your mother doesn't have access to our money anymore, and neither do you." "What? Why?" Evelyn's voice went sharp. "Mom, what did you do?" Diane whispered. "He knows." "Knew what?" Evelyn asked. "Everything," I said. "About school, about the money, about why you've been staying quiet." Silence. Then Evelyn said, "I didn't ask her to." "You took it," I said, over and over. "I was scared," she said. "I didn't know what else to do." "You could have told the truth," I said. "Any time." The real confrontation happened 2 days later, when we were all in the same room. Evelyn flew in. She looked smaller than I remembered, tired, defensive before anyone even said anything. She sat on the edge of the couch like she might bolt. Diane sat beside her, too close, like she could shield her from something. I stayed standing. "So," Evelyn said, trying to sound calm, "you're just cutting me off? Erasing me?" "I'm not erasing you," I said. "I'm stopping the lie." "You don't understand," she said. "Law school wasn't working. I was drowning." "Then you should have said that," I said. "Not taken our money and disappeared," Diane cut in. "Richard, she was scared." "So were you," I said, turning to her. "That didn't stop you from lying to me for 2 years." She flinched. Evelyn's voice broke. "You're really going to leave Mom with nothing?" "I'm going to leave her with what she came in with," I said. "She knew the prenup." Diane whispered, "Please, don't do this." "You already did this," I said. "I'm just finishing it." Evelyn stood up. "You're punishing me for her mistakes." "No," I said. "I'm refusing to keep rescuing you from yours." She cried then, real crying, ugly, breathless. "I can fix it," she said. "I'll go back. I'll get a job. "You should," I said. "But not with my money." She looked at me like I'd hit her. "You don't love me anymore," she said. "I do," I said. "That's why I'm not lying to you." There was nothing left to say after that. Diane moved out 3 weeks later. The man she'd been seeing disappeared the moment consequences showed up. Evelyn took a job she hated, with roommates she didn't choose and bills she couldn't ignore. And I stayed in the house we'd built, quieter than it had ever been. Not happy, but finally honest. Because sometimes consequences don't come with shouting. Sometimes they come with closed accounts, empty rooms, and the end of being paid to stay silent.